Hey everybody, welcome back to Jay's Fifth Down, a football podcast. I'm here with Nick Winkler once again, talking some football action, and also wanting to mention that this is the 1 year official anniversary of the Jay's Fifth Down football podcast. We've been going strong for a year, so just wanted to put that out there. But Nick, thank you for joining us today, man.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, congratulations on 1 year. Keep it rolling.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So we got a lot in store for you guys today. We're going to be talking some great football action, some great news. But first off, again, just make sure you guys check us out here on YouTube. Subscribe. Check us out. We're also on any other podcast platform you can think of. So make sure you give us a watch and give us a listen there. Nick, 49ers and the Chiefs, big game for both teams. Unfortunately, San Francisco, your guys, they could not pull out the win. So what's just recapping the game, man? What did you see went wrong, and what can the team do to fix things moving forward into a big game with the Rams on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, the defense was exposed again, right? I mean, lack of injury or lack of depth, really, at this point. It's just come down to too many injuries out there. They really missed Emmanuel Mosley out on the outside there in the secondary, and Patrick Mahomes just picked him apart. You know, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. He may go down someday as one of the best. I mean, the guy's unreal. You love what Andy Reid does on offense. He's always drawing something up, a couple of big blown coverages on 3rd and long, and the 49ers just couldn't keep the Chiefs out of the end zone. And that was really the beginning and the end of it. And well, not really. Now that I say that, if you look on offense, the 49ers had some great drives. They really looked really good. Christian McCaffrey, I mean, every time he touched the ball, looked like he was shot out of a cannon. Dude, it was really exciting to see. But they just couldn't convert those drives into touchdowns. Just too many field goals. They only punted the ball one time, and it resulted in a turnover. So the offense was moving. It was kicking. It was trucking. Garoppolo made a couple of mistakes. Every quarterback makes a couple of mistakes. Unfortunately for him, it seems like every time he makes a mistake, the defense capitalizes on it. It's opposite from that Tua game the other night, right? On Monday night or Sunday night when he had 4 passes that should easily have been intercepted, and all of them were dropped. That doesn't happen to Jimmy Garoppolo. If he throws a ball that's supposed to be intercepted, it gets intercepted. So it's just some tough luck for the 49ers on both sides of the ball, and really got a chance to turn things around this weekend. You go up against the Rams team that the 49ers have beat 7 times in a row in the regular season. So if you're going to get right, this is kind of the time to do it. A little bit tough, though. The Rams are coming off of a bye, so they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this, and the 49ers will be going into their bye. So hopefully they can kind of get back to 500, 4-4 as they head into the bye week and really just kind of, get Christian McCaffrey up to speed, because we've seen what kind of weapon he could be in the NFL. And now he's got a full week in the scheme at practice, and hopefully they can just get him the ball in space, or if anything, use him as a decoy, right? Get those double teams off Debo and get Christian McCaffrey the ball, or get 2 people covering McCaffrey and get Debo the ball. You got a couple of huge weapons now, so it'll be really fun to see how Kyle Shanahan utilizes all that this weekend.
Yeah, and I already know when they made that move for McCaffrey, it's a game changer, because when he's on the field, and it's just the amount of energy and just complete dynamic gameplay that he brings to the team. It's just amazing, and if he could just stay healthy, we're hoping that he stays healthy. I really want to see him stay healthy with San Francisco. It might be, who knows, man, this might be the year where he just stays healthy, the rest of the year, because he's in a different team. I don't know. Some guys just are like that, and they get out of a certain place, and, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, what I don't want to see is them keep running him up the middle between the tackles, because that's those are the things that he's going to get hurt, because he's not the biggest guy in the world, and he's running in there with those 300, 350 guys. It's like, don't do that. Like, he's got the speed. Get him to the outside. You run Jeff Wilson up the middle, right? So you bring in Jordan Mason. Let's run him up the middle. Terry David Price. Like let's give these guys the ball up the middle and get McCaffrey in space. If anything, I'd like to see him used more as a wide back, as they've been using Deebo Samuel the last couple of years, where he goes out on more receiving routes than he does actually touching the ball in the backfield, because he's electric, man. He's got moves. He's quick. He's fast. He gets up to full speed in like 3 steps. I mean, it's incredible what that guy does when he touches the football. And you're right. It was a big move that the 49ers did. It was an all-in move, right? You're playing some no-limit Texas Hold'em, and it's just like, all right, we're getting to that point. Let's put all our chips on the table. Like, let's go. Four draft picks for this guy? Whatever. He's worth it.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he is absolutely worth it. McCaffrey, I mean, just not too long ago, a couple years ago, just had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. Very easily hit that mark, and he's just, I mean, just like you said, electric, man. When he gets the ball in his hands, it's very hard to stop him. So I just thought, that was a huge move for San Francisco, very important, and I'm glad that they pulled the trigger on that move. John Lynch, he's always known to get those big guys in there,
Hmm.
those big name guys, and to come in and help out the team. So credit to him and that front office for making that move. Um, but moving forward, man, we got the Bucs and the Ravens tonight on Thursday Night Football. Big game for both of these squads, man. What in your mind, Nick, has been going on with the Bucs, man? I mean, they lost 21-3 to the Panthers on Sunday. They just don't look like themselves lately. Now they're still sitting atop the NFC South, tied with the Falcons, but not where they want to be right now.
Yeah, I mean, you could really see what an offense looks like, how different Tom Brady-led offense is without a star tight end, right? I mean, he doesn't have Gronkowski out there, and it shows. He's his security blanket. He's his guy. It's like, I need somebody to go make a play. Gronk's double covered. I don't care. I'm going to throw him the football. I mean, Gronk's probably, as of right now, I mean, Kelsey's quickly catching up to him, but with what Gronk does with his blocking and his touchdowns, like he's probably the best tight end that's ever played in the NFL. So when you lose a guy like that, you just lose a huge part of your offense. And Brady's had him for so long that it's a big deal. And it's really starting to show. And I think they wanted kind of Julio Jones to be that guy, kind of the big body possession receiver at this point. And he hasn't been able to stay on the field. No. So that hasn't worked out. Yeah. And now it's just like, Mike Evans, he's punching people. He's dropping wide open balls. It's like, I don't know what's going on with him either. I mean, Godwin's out there doing his thing, but now they're double covering him. I don't think they're going to have Gage tonight. Like, this is going to be interesting to see if they can turn this thing around, because I know Baltimore has a pretty good defense, as they historically have had, but it's a huge game for both teams tonight, because Baltimore needs a win as well. They've lost some tough matches recently as well, and either Mark Andrews is a little bit hurt, so it'll be interesting to see if he is playing, if he's at full speed. Talk about, best tight ends in the league. I mean, Mark Andrews is right up there right now. So I love tonight's matchup. It's one of those where it's going to be tough. It's going to be every point's going to be fought hard for. Like, both of these teams need to win this football game, and I think it's going to show. I think you're going to see a lot of emotions run high. You might see Brady yelling at everybody out there. He might start yelling at the fans. He might call up Belichick and be like, what the heck are you doing? Like, it has nothing to do with Belichick, but he's going to find somebody to yell at. And I'm looking forward to it. I like passionate Tom Brady. I like when he's feeling it, when he's in the zone. I mean, he's 45 years old. He's still out there playing like it. He hasn't won anything. Like, he still needs to prove everybody wrong. And man, that fire, that brings something to a game.
Yeah. He's just 45 years old. He's there's no big.
Whatever.
45. Yeah, whatever. But you mentioned, they lost to the Steelers, the week before, and then to the Panthers. It just, again, the offensive line, they've had a lot of injuries, over that, and just not consistent play from that side of the ball. The receivers, of course, like you said, Mike Evans has had some issues, also some injuries out there as well. So just that consistency and flow just hasn't really been there offensively for the Bucs as they would have liked. So like you said, this is a big game for both squads. Mm-hmm. The Ravens have lost some, like you said, very tough matchups this year. The defense just letting up those big leads, and they just haven't looked like the historic Baltimore defenses that we're used to seeing. Guys getting after the quarterback, and just the secondary making great plays. Haven't really seen too much of it, but both teams are hoping that they get things back on track tonight. So I've got the Bucs winning this game tonight. I think they're going to get back on track.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Yeah, I think they're going to get back on track and get things rolling here. And but it's going to be a close game. So
over the last 20 years or so, Jay, I've learned something really smart, and that is you never bet against Tom Brady. So I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm not going to bet against the guy. I think he's going to figure out a way to squeak out this much-needed win for this Buccaneer squad.
Yeah, I made that mistake as well a couple of years ago, and it didn't turn out so well for me. So I know now not to bet against Tom Brady. That's just not a smart thing to do at all. So, very, very good matchup tonight. I think this might be the best Thursday night game we get this year, man. To be honest with you, I don't know.
Last week's was pretty good, so it'll be a little bit tough to top that, I think. So hopefully it does.
Good. Yeah,
it's definitely two better teams, I think, overall. If you look at the rosters, top to bottom, they haven't been playing as such, leading into this game. But I think this is going to be one of those games where it's going to be action packed. There's going to be some turnovers, and that might be the key too, right? One tip ball that gets brought back for 6, or late in the game you see a fumble here or there. Like, it's going to be one of those games where I think we're going to be in it till the very end. I think it's going to be one of the higher rated games. I know Tom Brady brings in a lot of eyeballs to the TV. I mean, Lamar Jackson is much watched television every time he touches the ball. It's actually funny. I heard a really funny stat yesterday. I love Pardon the Interruption, and they were talking about last year the top 100 television shows that were watched during 2021. 75 of them were football games. It's like, yep. Football dominates.
Yes, as always, man. Always.
Tonight's going to be one of those games, I think.
Oh, yeah, I most definitely think it will be. And the thing I'm really looking for specifically is just how that Tampa Bay run defense is going to hold up, because they allowed over 160 yards rushing to the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. So that's a team that is – they just traded their best running back to the 49ers, and, so – and this is Tampa Bay normally, they still do, but they always have a top run defense. So I'm looking for them to get back on track this week and stop that ground game for the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, because every time he's back there, and it's always hard,
But I'm sure you watched a little bit of that Ravens game last week, and Gus Edwards is back, and he looks good. Like, he looks like he's running with some passion. Justice Hill had that big fumble at the end of that game. Kind of left the door open last week. The Ravens still squeaked out the win, but it was way too close based on that. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets any run tonight. I know Kenyon Drake is, he's been kind of up and down with what they've been doing there in the run game. But I would look for Gus Edwards to touch the ball like 20 times tonight.
Yeah, I think so. It's gonna be, like you said, it's gonna be that gritty type of game, just pound it type of game. Hard play action is gonna be used a lot. Like, this is gonna be one of those type of games in which defense is gonna be able to get a stop, and or which offense are going to be able to keep that consistent flow moving throughout the game. So definitely something to look forward to tonight. Again, you guys can catch that only on Amazon Prime, 8:15 Eastern Time. Bucs, Ravens, good football. But the trade deadline is on Tuesday, and we've already seen a couple of trades this year. Of course, the McCaffrey trade being a big one, and also Robert Quinn, the Chicago Bears trading the veteran pass rusher to the Philadelphia Eagles. So, what's your opinion on that, man? How big is it a deal that for the Eagles?
It was a big surprise to me, because they're coming off a big win, right? And it's like you finally get some good stuff out of your running game, and your quarterback and your defense stepped up and looked great, and then you trade away your best defensive player, like. What kind of message are you sending to the team? What kind of message are you sending to the fans? Like, I know you're probably not going to win anything this year, but you might. Like, it's still early in the season. And again, you ride that momentum. You don't do the opposite. I was shocked to see that. And they didn't even really get that much for him. Like, I mean, it was a good haul. Don't get me wrong. Like, you'll take it. But draft picks are such a crapshoot that it's like you're giving up this guy who got 18 and a half sacks, right? And now it's like, you're going for a question mark, a young kid that you're going to bring in and hope that he does well, or two guys, it's like, I don't know. I don't like it one bit. It's great for the Eagles. Brilliant move. They already, are sitting there undefeated, looking great. And this is their all-in move, right? They're like, okay, we're going to solidify, our defense here and bring in a real playmaker, a real guy that can just make things happen. And man, the Eagles, that was a great move for them.
Yeah, huge move. I mean, Howie Roseman has done a great job up there being owner for the Eagles, and the moves that he's been able to make. Of course, bringing in A.J. Brown from the Titans in the draft, during the draft process, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from the Saints, trying to help bolster that defense. I mean, just overall, man, I've been really impressed with how that Eagles front office has constructed this roster. And then, of course, sticking with Jalen Hurts, because he was a little up and down last year. But they stuck with him. He's made strides, he's improved, and of course, he's having a great season so far this year. So I tip my hat off to that Eagles front office.
I just want to see him slide more, as a Niner fan, and Trey Lance, I'm just getting – it's still a little too soon to, watch a young quarterback running so much with it. Same with Justin Fields. I'm just like, get out. Fields has gotten better the last couple of weeks, but he takes some big shots, man. And, yeah, like, as a Niner fan, it hurts to watch that, just like, oh, okay, our guy didn't pop back up. I'm glad your guy keeps popping back up. It's not going to happen forever. Like, get down. Take a page out of the Kyler Murray playbook and the Lamar Jackson playbook, right? Which is those guys just never take big hits. They just know how to avoid it. They can sense it. I don't know what it is with their running ability, but nobody gets that clean shot on them. And that's brilliant. That's how you're supposed to do it. And maybe it's just because they're so much faster than everybody else, but
Yeah.
it was a good move. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe because they, they're just like so fast. They just, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
Can't
they're not
touch it.
gonna
They're
touch me.
trying. No, they're trying to get those big hits. It's just not happening.
Yeah, yeah, right, yeah. So, but huge move for Philadelphia. They're getting Robert Quinn over there. Like you said, he had 18 and a half. I didn't even know that he had that many sacks last year.
Because he played for the
On,
Bears, right? Nobody was watching.
well, still, Nick, don't do the Bears like that. We got Bears fans watching the show, so let's
I
not drive them
know, I
away.
know. But the Bears, if they're a real Bear fan, they'll be the first to admit it. That was not a good product
Yeah.
that they put on the field last year. As a 49er fan, I'll tell you when they're playing bad football. I'll be the first. I turned it. I didn't even watch the end of the game last week. When the Chiefs went up 3 scores, I was like, why am I going to put myself through the last 4 minutes of this nonsense? Like, I turned it off. You don't need to torture yourself, guys. You don't need to do it. Move on after an L.
Yes. As a Falcons fan, that is something that I'm very used
Right.
to here, here in Atlanta. But just don't torture yourself, man. Just
Yeah.
put yourself through that pain. But like I say, yeah, great move, and I expect a couple more moves coming up. As again, the deadline is on Tuesday, November 1st. So,
Yeah.
What are some other trades that you could see possibly happening? What are some things that that you might think some teams could use to improve their rosters?
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys that are just unhappy, right? I mean, Kareem Hunt is obviously the first guy that comes to mind. They're just not utilizing him in Cleveland, which is mind-boggling to me when you have a guy of his talent and you're just not getting him the football. You're not throwing at him. The last 2 weeks. Last week he had a touchdown, and that was about it. Like the week before that, he had 12 total yards. It's like, why are you not giving this guy the ball at all? It just, I don't know. So why keep him on your team if you're not going to use him? Like, go get something for him. I'm sure there's some teams out there that need a little running back help that could bring in a guy like that and really benefit from that. I mean, how about a guy like Elijah Moore, right? With the Jets, he's just not getting utilized. Another guy that could just really find a place. DJ Moore in Carolina. Yeah, they got to win, but it's like, does he want to stick around through a whole rebuild? Or they could actually go out and get a few more pretty high draft picks for a wide receiver like that, especially coming off the game he just had. He's had such a bad year up until now. He had the big game in the win last weekend, and maybe you can actually parlay that into a few extra picks or at least a higher round draft pick for Carolina. So that would probably be the most obvious one to me would be DJ Moore moving.
Yeah, I can see that. And you speak of wide receivers. Another team that I think that could use some wide receiver help is the Green Bay Packers. They're just not a lot of consistency and production coming out of that group, and Aaron Rodgers has made it vocal many times. It's like, hey,
right.
We got to get some production out of this wide receiver group. He understands that. And he even said the other day, like, we're gonna have to cut some reps, and we're gonna have to start doing that because these guys aren't, they're not getting it done out here. And you listen to a guy like that. He's been around the block a few times.
You do.
And I can say, hey, Brandon Cooks to the Packers might not be a bad move.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, or to the Seahawks. They lost DK Metcalf for a little while. The Chargers, Mike Williams is probably going to end up on IR for 4 weeks, with that high ankle sprain. So there's a few teams out there that were, not necessarily expecting to do well, like in the matter of the Seahawks. They weren't expecting to do much, but they are. They're very much in this thing, so they can make a move. And the Chargers, they're definitely been a disappointment so far. Keenan Allen finally able to get back on the field last week, but then Mike Williams goes down, and it's like, Herbert's got to be like, when will anything go right for me? So that would make a lot of sense too if the Chargers went out and got somebody.
Yeah, it would. And and another trade I just remembered happened earlier today. Kadarius Toney, the second-year wide receiver for the New York Giants, traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for.
That's what the Chiefs needed, Jay, was more weapons.
Another weapon for Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, man.
I mean, the only silver lining for those of us that are Chief haters now, because they keep beating my 49ers, is that Tony's been injured. He keeps having all these hamstring issues, right? So maybe that'll backfire on them. But I mean, if he gets healthy and you get him in that offense in the slot, I mean, that's like Tyreek Hill 2.0, right? That would be really interesting to see how they utilize that kind of weapon with what they've already got there in Kansas City.
Yeah, he is a very electric playmaker. He was coming out of college in Florida. Really liked his game coming out of Florida. Once he gets the ball in his hands and getting out into space, he's really elusive. New York, just like I say, struggle with injuries and just things just didn't, pan out the way they hoped. So I expected this to come, at some point, and it did happen. So, now they're probably going to get Kenny Galladay out of their necks. But anyway.
Man, talk about a disappointing wide receiver, Kenny Galladay. What a waste of money that was. Oh,
3 years, $72 million deal, man.
oh, oh. I wish I had his stats pulled up because I'm sure they're ridiculously low. We know, though, right? We don't need to look at stats. We don't need to see numbers. We know that Kenny Galladay has been one of the biggest busts as a free agent signing in NFL history. It's unfortunate for them.
So unfortunate, man. You put all your stock into that, and it's just, no production. He's not playing, and it's just you just can't have that type of money sitting on the bench, right?
And that's just it. Is maybe the money is what did it, right? Is some guys when they get paid, they're just like, all right, I'm good. Like I don't need to go out there and give it a little bit extra. I'm good. I got paid. I got my money. We're good.
Right. Yeah. And you usually see that happening with it's more towards wide receivers and running backs. When they get those big contracts and they kind of just start chilling a little bit, perfect prime example, Ezekiel Elliott. When he got his deal, now this is not the Ezekiel Elliott that I saw in 2016. The guy that as a rookie led the league in rushing yards, was so explosive. It just hasn't been that guy since then. And so I hope, the Cowboys are hoping that he can get back to that form soon, but
I don't think he can though, right, Jay? I mean, he's had too many carries. He's beaten up, man. The guy has been, he led the league in rushing, or at least in the top 3, I think, for his first 4 years or something. Like he was that workhorse. He was that give this guy the ball 20 to 25 times every single game, and let's go. And here we are 6 years later, and it's like, okay, it's starting to show. So I think we might see the opposite. I think we're going to see him, kind of getting less and less carries, and Tony Pollard getting more and more, because every time that guy touches the ball, it is exciting to watch. He's fast, he's quick, he's tough, like he's got good hands. Tony Pollard by the end of the season, he might be the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a move they should have made a little while ago, because he's so dynamic out the backfield, can catch the football. He's very elusive in space, can run it very hard for his size. Only knock on him a little bit that, gives Zeke some leeway as far as, the reps and carries, is that he's not good in pass protection. That's something that he does get better at, that I've noticed. But overall, he's a great back, and he would be a starting running back on any other team in the NFL. So, or most teams in the NFL. So, but that's just something to look at moving forward, man. But our last little tidbit here, Nick, before we get off here on the podcast, is the Patriots, man, and the quarterback situation going on there with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. What's your thoughts on that?
Tough one, right? That old, like, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you got none, the John Madden saying. I don't think they should have gone back to Mac Jones. I think they should have just kept rolling with Zappi. I mean, he had won a couple of games. He had looked good. And he looked good coming off the bench. And, he didn't look great in the second half. He made a few mistakes and cost his team the football game. But Mac Jones just doesn't look like he's got it, right? He just looks slow. He just looks scared back there every time he's taking the ball. And that's not what you want from your quarterback. Bailey Zappi looks comfortable. He's got the arm. He can make all the throws. Like, I think going forward, I wouldn't be surprised if we just don't see any more Mac Jones. I think that Belichick gets it. He gets that this Bailey Zappi kid's good. Yeah, he played for a small school, but he led the nation in that division in passing. And so you can't just do that if you're just some schmuck off the street, right? This guy's got a great arm. He's got great instincts as well. You saw it, a couple of amazing passes early in that football game. And I think if you give him all those first team reps, as you did the last 2 weeks, and you saw how he came out and got wins for you, I think he's going to come out and do well again. So don't be surprised if we've seen the end of Mac Jones, at least while we have an injury-free Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for Mac. Mac, he was, very smart kid, great quarterback, and but just has been playing all that well, and in this league, this is a business, and you have to put the guys out there that are going to produce for you, and they're going to win football games for you, and that's just how the NFL is, and so I would expect, Bailey Zappi to get, more playing time from here on out. So. But definitely
numbers are numbers, but the only number that really matters, Jay, is that win column.
That's right. Yeah, that's all that matters in the end. Getting that win. So whoever's going to give me the best chance of doing that, I'm putting out on the field.
I don't care what draft pick they were. I don't care what college they went to. If they're out here and they're winning football games, they're going to play.
Yes, right. That is how every team should be ran. That's football 101, right?
Hmm.
You're gonna give me the best chance to win. I'm putting you out there on the field. It doesn't. I don't care, right?
Let's go.
But yeah, man. Any last thoughts, man, before we get off here on the podcast, Nick?
I love football season, man. I love we're almost halfway through, and we're really starting to see the contenders and like, I keep talking about the Raiders every week. Look what Josh Jacobs is doing right now for the Raiders. Like, it's incredible. The guy is dominating every time he touches the ball. They're a fun team to watch right now. And I keep saying it, they're going to run up some wins here. Here we go. I think this is going to be win 2 in a row this weekend.
Okay, Nick is with you guys, Raider Nation. He is
Jumping
with
on the
you.
bandwagon.
He is with the Raider Nation. So yeah. I think people were too quick to write off the Raiders, early. And yeah, they haven't had the great start to the year, but I think as we move on throughout the season, they're going to start picking up some wins because they got a good squad over there, man. They do, very talented players, of course. Devontae Adams, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully they get things rolling there in Las Vegas, and they want to make it into the postseason again. So it'll be interesting.
And don't count out those Falcons. All right.
We'll,
Keep running the football. Possession. Time of possession is huge.
week by week, man. We're just taking it 1 week at a time. So see what happens.
Smart.
But the Falcons, yeah. I think this week we have. What do we have this week? I'm not exactly sure, but I know we got the Bengals on Sunday. That was a. Oh yeah, we have the Panthers this weekend. So
there you go. Division game. Go get that win.
NFC South battle here in Atlanta the day before Halloween. We actually played them on Halloween last year. So I guess that I don't know if the NFL did that on purpose, but who knows, right?
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So, but thanks, Nick, for joining us for this special edition of Jay's Fifth Down. Of course, like I mentioned, the 1 year anniversary of our podcast. So I'm glad you were here with us for this special episode. So thank you again for your time, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Keep up the good work.
Of course, you too, man.